You are a soul in evolution, and the purpose of your journey is to unfold your awareness of your soul. It's the only reason why you're here. Everything else is just story. But what about that person that cut you off on the highway, on Rand Road? You know that person in the Buick? It's always a Buick. Does anybody drive a Buick in here? Not you. It wasn't you. No. But we think that that particular problem had to do with a traffic issue or maybe with somebody behaving in a certain way. But it's not. It has to do, everything has to do with our own soul's unfoldment. And that person in that Buick is only there to shine a light on what we need to work on in our own soul. That's true when you watch the news. That's true when you deal with family members. That's true when you deal with anything in your life. This morning I got here and there was no sound. Nothing. I mean, zero, zilch. And I was going around and I was doing all these things. And guess what I ended up saying? Thank you, God, for the divine solution to this perfect problem. And of course, that meant if nothing changed, it was still the divine solution. I would just trust that. And I got a call from the guy who did the sound, and he was able to tell me what to do, at least to get decent sound so that we could muddle through the service. But what I learned from it was a lesson for me in letting go, in trusting, in being in the present moment, and not getting caught up in the minutiae of things and the appearance of things. Every single experience in your life, even that experience, even that person, is designed to bring you into a greater awareness, your soul awareness, to unfold your soul. And then you have to remember, well, what is your soul? What is my soul? I mean, somebody have a good definition of soul that you want to call out? What's your soul? I know, Aretha Franklin. But besides that, what is your definition of soul?
Infinite presence. Infinite
presence in me. Anybody else? That's beautiful. I can wait. I'm only going to be here 3 more weeks, so I can wait those 3 weeks. Tell me what your idea of soul. What is soul?
My higher self.
Your higher self. It is that part of you, that essence of you, that seeks to express and grow and to know, and it's changing throughout time and eternity. And it is that you of you. You know, it's not your body, even though you may have body sensations when you experience your soul. It's not your emotions, even though you may feel uplifted and have feelings when you experience your soul. It's not even your mind. It's not even your mind, even though you may have divine ideas that come to you on the level of your soul. So what is it? It's that inner essence of you. And remember about 2 years ago when I brought a box filled with Hostess products. Do you remember that? How many people were here that Sunday? And what were they? They were ho-hos. They were ding-dongs. They were Twinkies. They were cupcakes. They were zingers. All these different things. There was one other. I can't remember the name of it. And the one thing that I noticed as I was getting in touch with what's my soul is that the one thing that all these different looking products had in common was what? The middle, the cream filling. And how many of you, when your mom would put the ho-ho or the Twinkie into your lunchbox, would open it up and you'd lick out the cream filling because it was your favorite part? Raise your hand. Some of you didn't do that, but some of you went for the soul essence of it. It was the most important part of it. Because it wasn't whether it was a cupcake, it wasn't about a ho-ho. When you look around the room, there are people who have different outer wrappings. There's people who are like the cupcakes. There's a couple ding-dongs, maybe. You know when that person cuts you off on the highway, or that person, think about that person that's come to your mind when I've been talking about this, about some of these lessons that come into your life. We often in Unity talk about, I behold the Christ in you. It's a very lofty kind of abstract concept. I behold that divinity, that Christ in you. And there was one time I was going through a really tough experience of a person, and so what I did was I took our hymn, I Behold the Christ in You, which we sing periodically, and I wrote it out to that person. You know, I behold the Christ in you, Bob. Hear the light. He wasn't Bob. Hear the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you, Bob, whole and free. And I did all the way through. Every single time it said you, I would put comma in their name. And it was just an exercise, but it was like it broke up the crust of my belief system. Because you see, it's not about them, although they may be doing whatever. It's not your imagination that the person cut you off on Rand Road in the Buick. But it's, what are you doing with it? What are you going to do about it? How are you handling it? What are you doing to use absolutely everything in your life's experience for your soul's growth and journey? And so when I did this exercise, I behold the Christ in you, something broke free. And when you do something like this, you may go home and Google that and print it out and then maybe use that as an exercise. But it's one way to do it. But maybe that's a little too abstract, a little too churchy for you. So go back to the Hostess products. It's the cream filling. It's the cream filling. So you might say, I behold the cream filling in you, you ding-dong. Together, I behold the cream filling in you, you ding-dong. See, whatever the outer expression is, it's the inner that you're looking for. It's the inner that needs to come out. There's another analogy for the soul. You know, I want to get the soul out of the abstract into the feeling nature, into the awareness of how to experience it. That's why in the meditation, we got in touch with the fact that the heart is the seat of the soul. It is where we experience that soul awareness. And so if the heart is the seat of the soul, then you can feel that awareness resting gently in your heart. And you got to get quiet enough for that. And that's another beautiful way to do it. But another analogy that helps me is the analogy of the magnifying glass. And I was going to bring one and then I forgot. So you just have to imagine a magnifying glass. And remember, I've shared this once before about how your soul is like a magnifying glass. The light of Spirit is always coming down. The light of God is always shining. It's indiscriminate. It doesn't really, it's just there. It's always shining. Jesus said the light is there, the sun shines and the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. It's just there. But then how do you use that light? What are you doing with that light? And that's where your soul comes in. That's where your magnifying glass comes in. Do you remember when you were young and one of your neighbors, slightly older than you in the neighborhood, had a magnifying glass? And what did they do with their magnifying glass? They burnt leaves, right? And you took it and they gave you a turn and you couldn't do it. You just didn't know how to do it. You just did this thing and you couldn't quite make it work because you had not practiced that. And the spiritual practices you have, your life's experiences, this is the practice of how do I take the light of Spirit and put it to use so I can do something with it. Remember your parents told you, don't ever burn anything with it, right? And what did you do?
Burn stuff.
Immediately. Because why? Because you're a soul in evolution. You're curious and you're playful and you're wanting to try things out, and your experimentation in life is part of your soul's journey. And so you did that, and that was maybe a good thing, maybe. And so you got a facility for the use of your magnifying glass. Your soul is that magnifying glass that takes the light of Spirit and you can put it to work. You can experience what you need to experience by focusing it. And what practices do you use to focus? Well, maybe meditation. And everybody says, well, I don't know. Meditation, that's too abstract. Everybody's got a way, because there's a part of you. You have a way to meditate that's unique to you because there's a part of you that's always meditating. There's a part of you that's always connected. Is that not true? It's always there. It never went away. Your awareness sometimes comes and goes. But that part of you is always there. And is there a right or wrong way to meditate? I don't know. Now, let's take the idea of exercise. Meditation to me is like the exercise of your soul. And so, what about physical exercise? I think everybody in this room would say that physical exercise is good for you. But what kind of physical exercise? Now, you do calisthenics, and you lift weights, and you do yoga, and you do tai chi, and you walk, and everybody does, you swim. Which one's the right way? All of them. Because they all are unique to you. And one might be better for you than another. we're all different. We're all souls in evolution. We all have different purposes in life. We're working things out. But in your meditative life, let's say you've got a really active cognitive mind and intellect. And maybe it's hard to quiet your mind. I've been meditating since I was 14, and it's hard for me to quiet my mind. So what I do is I take affirmations, and I work with them. I say them aloud. I whisper them. I say them quietly. And I quiet my mind, and then my mind wanders. And then I come back, and I do it again. Or maybe I have a series of affirmations. One of those series of affirmations was called the Lord's Prayer by Jesus. All it is a series of affirmations. You could use that one. You could use our opening statement, which I do often. You could use some prayer that they taught you when you were a kid, when you were in catechism or something, one prayer that's not too off-putting to you. So you can take these things and then you can work with them. That's a good way. Other people, they listen to quiet music and they visualize. I don't know what works for you. And I'm suggesting to you that you do something to take the desire of your heart and back it up with the will of your soul. You see, if you want to engage with your soul, it takes two things, desire and will. You got to want to enough, you got to care enough about it, you got to really desire to engage your soul, and then you've got to back it up with your will. And your will is your practices, your willingness to take it day by day. It's a good beginning. It's a good first act to have desire, but then you back it up with will. My meditation teacher, Jane Hart, who lives in Florida, and she's the reason why I'm moving down there, she told me a long time ago, you know, Greg, a lot of people got a good first act, but a lot of people don't have a good second act. And the first act is your will. It's what you profess to and what you desire. And desire is truly important. What did it say in the Upanishads? You are what your deep driving desire is. As is your deep driving desire, so is your word. As is your word, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny. Your driving desire is what is the impetus of your soul's evolution. You are a soul in evolution, but in order to get the stick-to-itiveness, the continuation of that soul desire, you got to back your desire up with your will, and that is the willingness to engage with the process day by day. So, go back to, what is your soul? Maybe you don't have a soul. I used to think I had a soul. I used to think I had a soul. I don't think I have a soul. I am a soul. What's the difference between thinking that you have a soul and thinking you are a soul? Interesting. The picture that came to me was of a balloon. One of those helium balloons like I get for my kids on their birthday. And I thought that my soul was this balloon that kind of floated up high. And occasionally I could pull it down and hug it for a while, and then it would go back up high again. I don't know how well this analogy is working for you, but that was my soul. It was something I had. I could experience it in that way. But then I realized, no, the soul's not a balloon. It's who I am. And once you realize that, you shift your awareness so that you begin to experience yourself as a soul in evolution, and you realize that you're a soul with a personality, not a personality that has a soul, that you're a cream filling that just happens to be wrapped with a ho-ho or something, but you're not that outer wrapping. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, Unity's co-founders, were all about the soul and the soul evolution. And Myrtle Fillmore had one of the best definitions I've ever heard of what the soul is. She said, you need to understand your soul is the total of your consciousness, the fruit of all the experiences you have had in unfolding and expressing what the Creator's given you. I'll say it again. Understand that your soul is the total of your consciousness, the fruit of all the experiences you've had in unfolding and expressing what the Creator has given you. It's that you of you that moves through space and time, through eternity, gathering experiences and lessons and learning, and somebody cuts you off with a Buick and you learn about yourself and you forgive yourself for getting mad, and then you try again and you experience different things in your life. And you can engage this soul. You can engage this soul. When you realize that the home of the soul, the seat of the soul, is your heart. And that's a very practical thing. I was looking for an apartment this last weekend, And it was in a market where it's very tight. And everybody told me, oh, you're going to have a hard time finding an apartment. And of course, you know what I said to that. I don't believe that. But I had to engage with this. So what did I do in the face of, and this is something to think about, in the face of what you're dealing with that may look daunting or difficult. I made a list. I said, thank you, God, for the perfect home for my heart. Find a home for your soul in whatever circumstance, whatever you're looking for. And then I wrote down the qualities, but it wasn't so much I want a GE stove with 2 ovens. No, it was about the quality, the feeling of the heart. And there were a few specifics, and then I found, and I saw some really bad apartments, right? That's part of the deal. But I found 2 that I liked. But the one I really liked, it had a beautiful view. It was on the Intercoastal Waterway. It was next door to a mangrove, and it was just great. So I said, I put it in my application. In the middle of the night, I meditate every night, and I got quiet, and it was all over me. Not that one, the other one. The other one, which was walking distance to the beach. And it didn't have quite the same qualities, but I knew it was the right one. How did I know? I don't know how I knew. I just know that I know. See, if you make your list, I want a home for my heart. I thank you, God, for, and then you put at the bottom, this or something better, thank you, God. You do that, and then you'll find that you'll find a home for your soul, in your healing, a home for your soul, in your circumstances in life, in your job search, whatever it is. What you're looking for is really a home for your heart. You know, I've shared many times the last few years, it came to me this picture of what I want my life circumstances to be, what I want my life to be about. And it was a cross, or a T, I suppose, or a plus. And this staff of it was spiritual growth. And this horizontal staff was spiritual service. The vertical staff was growth. The horizontal staff was service. The vertical staff was the infilling of spiritual growth, and the horizontal staff was the giving forth of service. You know, it's not good enough to just have your spiritual growth and then sit in your cave and gaze at your navel and hold on to it. You've got to let it out and express. So the second part was the spiritual service. And then right in the middle, there was the heart. I mean, that's how we're built. Look at me. What's here? My heart. You know, we had a children's lesson this last Sunday, and the woman, the same woman who liked Megan so much, asked the children, point to yourself. Point to you. And they all went. Nobody went. They all went here, because this is the seed of the soul. Little children, Jesus said, become as a little child. The little children know this. And you know it too. What you're looking for here is your innocent child heart. Ooh. This world needs innocence right now, does it not? It's way too sophisticated. It's way too much out on the other side. So you need to get in touch with that innocent heart of yours. It's a strong heart. It's a capable heart. You know, your beingness knows what to do. You're a powerful being. So it's not that you just be a victim or a passive or something, but there's that heart in you, that innocent heart in you that wants to know and to grow and to be. And that part of you you can get in touch with it. And I love how Charles Fillmore talked about getting in touch with the desire of your heart so that you can move your soul evolution forward. He said that deep desire is essential for your spiritual growth. It is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. The onward impulse of your ever-evolving soul. That desire, how do you get in touch with your desire? Well, I've got 4 talks to give before I leave you. This is the first, and this is about finding a home for your heart, the desire of your heart, your soul, the desire in your soul. But then the next 3 are about the 3 steps that I've shared many times before that are necessary in order to unfold your soul's evolution, to get in touch with and engage that soul, which is that mediating principle between spirit and matter, that magnifying glass that you use to focus the light of spirit. And what are those 3? The first is, what do you want? The second is, what's in the way? And the third is, what are you going to do about it? Remember that? What do you want? That's desire. What's in the way? That's the clearing or the healing. And what are you going to do about it? Which is the process. The process. It's desiring your soul, healing your soul, and cooperating with your soul, which is the process. And in philosophy, this is called the dialectic. It started with Heraclitus in 450 BC. It's this wonderful thing that I thought up, and then I started doing research and found out that people have been saying this for years because there's only one mind. But the idea is that you desire. It's the first force. It is what he called thesis. And then there's the antithesis, which is the healing, the what's in the way, and then the synthesis, which is the process. What are you going to do about it? And if you can just get in touch with these 3 steps, you can manifest whatever it is that is the desire of your heart. And most importantly, since you're a soul in evolution and the purpose of your being here is your soul, you can engage your soul growth. So, what do you want? What do you want? That's your first force. That's the desire of your heart. That's putting forth that energy. And in unity, we call that affirmation. You can say that's the affirmations. The second force is denials. It's the healing. It's the healing of your soul. It's that release of everything that's unlike it. Love brings up whatever's in its way. And the third force is that cooperating with your soul, the synthesis, the process that happens. Because you see, whatever you're holding in your heart, your mind, your soul, including your own soul growth, there's no end result. You ready for that? I just want an end result. No, it's always in process. It just opens up a door for a greater experience of what do you want, what's in the way, and what are you going to do about it. This is not real abstract. This is very down to earth because it's how everything is manifested in this world. But how do you get in touch with that soul? Well, you got to desire it. You've got to want it. You've got to say to yourself, this is more important to me than anything. And next week I'm going to talk about that. And then that desire will bring up everything unlike it for you to clear and to heal. Imagine, again, that magnifying glass. Maybe it's got some gunk on it. Imagine if you had a foggy magnifying glass and you try to use it to capture the sun's rays and focus. It won't work. You've got to clean it off. And so you become aware, I've got some work to do. And then the third one is, what are you going to do about it? And it's the process of unfoldment of your soul. So those are the 3 steps. Now this church is in a process right now. And I'm being led to say this. This wasn't part of my talk. But I'll talk about it. Because you see, there's somebody waiting in the wings to come in here. And something very interesting always happens whenever I have left a church. The next minister is always more suited to the church than I was. And I had somebody say, don't say somebody will be better than you. It's not about better or worse. A coat isn't a better piece of clothing than a bathing suit. It's just one is suitable for a certain thing and another suitable for another. So it's the perfect situation, but you've got to do something. And that's why Tuesday night we're going to have a class, probably here in the sanctuary because of the numbers of people I hope will come, called Taking Greg and the Church Up the 7 Steps for Successful Life Transition, so that you can release all of your expectations, all of your feelings, all of your old energy, and then open up what? A possibility to receive what you truly need, which is waiting in the wings, which is even more appropriate for you, because that's how Spirit works, if you align with it. Now, if you don't, if you just sit there in the middle of the road, just get run over. You got to do something about it. You've got to desire it and then back it up with your will. And how do you back it up with your will? By doing the practices in a systematic way, not a way that is hard or over stringent, but just a little every day. And that's what we'll do on Tuesday. So look into your life right now and say, what is it I'm working on? How can I engage my heart? How can I engage my soul? If I am a soul in evolution and every circumstance is here to grow me, how can I use this to grow me? That gets you out of the idea that you're a victim or that you're stuck. When I showed up this morning and there was no sound, not any sound, I couldn't get it to work at all. And when I did that, well, what happened? I had to go into, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Together? Thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. And realize that it was there to show me an aspect of my beingness. And I said, thank you, God, for the divine solution to this perfect problem. Together? Thank you, God, for the divine solution to this perfect problem. And then the guy who did the sound called me. And I picked it up. And he said, I'll walk you through it. And he walked me through it. And it's not perfect, but it's good enough. We got through the morning, didn't we? So, hey, it's great. But what if he hadn't? Then we would have had an adventure. You know? I've had that happen where you just kind of talk real loud, sing real loud. But you have to be flexible. See, that's the thing. If you set an intention for your heart, for your soul, then you got to be flexible and know that whatever's going to show up next is going to contribute somehow, in some way, to that soul evolution. So I'm being called to do this work right now, and I'm going to ask you to just touch your heart and know that in touching your heart, you're activating your soul essence. This is a powerful symbol, but it's more than a symbol, because your energetic heart, the heart whose energy you can feel when you put your fingers on your heart, that heart is the seat of your soul through which all of your soul essence is expressing. And so just with every breath, breathe into your heart and out of your heart. And recognize that you are that heart space, that soul in evolution. That you don't have a soul, you are this soul. And that your personality, your ego, is just that vehicle for the expression through which you express. And whatever the desire of your heart may be right now, bring it into your heart. And know that your soul, which rests so gently and easily in your heart, knows exactly what it will take to bring this about. Or something better. Or something better. Thank you, God, that my soul's journey, my innocent heart, is moving me where I need to move, manifesting what needs to manifest. And I am being who I am. Thank you, God. And so it is. And let's just be aware that there is a quiet space in our hearts, a place within us where there's a resting space for our soul. And as we move more deeply into this awareness, we recognize that our hearts, my heart, is the seat of my soul. My soul rests gently, quietly, on the altar of my heart. And in this deepening and this quiet, I attune myself to the angel whispers of my soul's direction. All the love, all the light and life, the compassion of my heart, through my soul I am one with all the other souls. My soul is not separate, but one. As I move more deeply into this awareness, this presence, I allow myself to just rest a while in peace. I may even feel a tingling in my heart, a deepening in my soul, awareness in my heart. I move more deeply into my heart. I open my heart. I feel the presence of my soul resting at peace. I move even more deeply into my heart by touching my heart space with my hand. I move my hand and touch my heart. And I let myself become aware of the feeling that is there. Presence. Connectedness, purpose and power, bliss and peace. I find my fulfillment in my soul, which rests gently on my heart. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. I receive abundantly. Together.
I give with my soul, and I receive abundantly.
Silently. And again aloud together.
I give with my soul, and I receive abundantly.
And so it is. Amen.